It is described by many as maybe the heartbeat of the economy when it comes to the capital and investment sector of a country. But what about those who are charged with regulating the sector to ensure that when it comes to your investments, everything is safe? But this personality was in Parliament. He was scrutinizing public sector officials when it comes to the right allocation of resources and how it should be spent right. On PM Express Business Edition, I engage the Honorable James Avedzi, the new Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, as he gets his thoughts on his vision, plan, and regulating the capital and investment space. Honorable, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate for granting us audience. I know you have a very tight schedule as you took over, but we do appreciate your time so much.
Thank you very much.
Honorable, let me first start with the appointment by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I mean, knowing where you're coming from in your background, for some of us, we thought that maybe Honorable could have been in another sector, but the President thought that you may be utilized well in this space. What do you make of the President's appointment to be the new Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission?
Thank you very much, and let me use the opportunity to say hello to our viewers. The President is very right. I'm an accountant by profession. I've also been in Parliament for 20 years, where I serve on a number of committees, including the Finance Committee and the Public Account Committee, as the chair for this committee for 8 years each, making 16 years. And because accountants are versatile, and we can work and fit well in any environment that we find ourselves. And for the fact also that when the bill or the act that governs this institution was being passed in 2016, I was the chair of the Finance Committee. So the President was right by putting me here, that he felt that I'll be an asset for the capital market, purposely for the growth and the development of this country. So when the President told me that he's sending me to Securities and Exchange Commission of Ghana, I gladly accepted and thanked him for recognizing me for this particular sector. It's a sector that is not well known or not in the public line. So people don't know it. And also when people hear the name securities, some think that it's about the police, the military, or whatever. But it's a different area altogether, which definitely we'll delve into. So it was good feeling when I'm asked to report here. So let me put it that way.
But at the personal level also, how did you also take it as well? Because of looking at the work you've done over the years, we followed your work at the Finance Committee and even the Public Accounts Committee as well. And at the personal level, do you think that it put a lot more pressure on you to get the work done? Or, you know, George, this is my playground. So, well, as some issues happen, I'm going to handle it professionally.
Well, definitely I have to handle it, and I'm going to handle it professionally. This is a sector that regulates the private sector. When we talk about investment, investment for many people are people who want to grow the money they have. Some do it for the future, to take care of them when they grow up and where they cannot earn additional income. Some did it purposely because they will not be having a regular flow of income anymore. So they save against their future. So these savings that they made, the money cannot be put down until they go on retirement and they start spending. Definitely the value will go down because of inflation, as you are aware. So people must come and manage this fund for them. So they must have trust in the people who manage the fund for them. Now these funds people manage, the people must place the fund in areas where the money can grow, in areas where the return on it will be good. So this is a sector that we are regulating, or I'm coming to help to regulate. It is a sector that the economy depends on. When you take the government sector out, the next sector that will help the growth of our economy is the private sector. And this private sector funding is coming from the individual investors. Do you understand? Now, they provide long-term capital for business. People want to put the money there for 10, 20 years before they will start spending that money. So if you are businesses and you go for this money, you have the freedom to use the money in order to produce whatever is needed in the country and outside in order to grow the economy. So the private sector, the capital market is actually, we can say, is actually the engine of growth. If you remember during President Kufuor's time, where he says the private sector is the engine of growth. Yeah. I believe him because coming to this sector, you can see that it is those investments, individual investments, which help companies, industries to take money. Long-term. If you have money, you want to buy shares in any company of this in our country. I don't want to mention any company which you serve as marketing for them. So you place your money there with the hope that at the end of the month, at the end of the year, they pay you dividends. And because depending on the performance of that company, the value of the share will also grow up. So anytime you want to sell your shares, you make some capital gain on that. So it is actually the engine of growth. Whatever is coming from the government sector is actually for provision of social goods, public goods, the schools, the hospitals, the roads, the water, the electricity. That is coming from the government sector. But for the private individual who need money to do business, fall on the individual investors.
Honorable, the president sent you here for more of like certain clear targets, and I'll be coming to your vision, your plan for the sector. But I want to backtrack a little bit to a place that you've loved so much, public accounts, finance committee, and just to backtrack a little bit. I mean, for you being in this space where you've scrutinized a lot of people, how do you think we can address the problem of corruption, wastage, and holding people accountable? Because a day doesn't pass, Honorable, without we hearing. And there are even recent reports in the media. Some are blaming it on the law. Some are blaming it on procurement. And I know you sit down at this committee and you get so frustrated. But now you are out and sitting as an outsider. What do you think can be done to address this problem?
Good. I sat on that committee for 8 years. And at certain points, I get frustrated. Simply because the committee, which is the Public Accounts Committee, do not have that power to take certain decisions. The power of the committee is to make recommendations to Parliament. This recommendation can be accepted or rejected by the plenary. If the recommendation is accepted, it must go back to the person that you have audited to implement the recommendation. That is why we have a problem. But the solution to that simply is to prosecute the people, to punish people who are found guilty. We are not punishing people.
Well, no, but why are we not doing it? I mean, you were there for 8 years. Why?
That is,
and all the powers that you had.
No, that is why I started by saying that. I get frustrated because the committee did not have such power to prosecute people. We don't. When I came, before I came there, I was a member of the Public Accounts Committee for 2 years in 2005 and 2006 when I first entered Parliament. And I was reshuffled to the Finance Committee. Then I found myself back in 2017 as the chair of the committee. Now, Ghanaians think that the committee have power to punish people on the spot. We do not. The committee doesn't have that power to punish people on the spot. We can only recommend. Before I became the chairman, the previous chairman we'll bring report to Parliament, the plenary, will adopt the reports, then implementation will become a problem. It will be left there. Nothing will be done about it. But I decided that people who flout the procurement law, we will recommend them for prosecution.
And did that happen, Honorable?
Yeah, we did. We recommended a number of people. I cannot count them. To the Attorney General, the Minister for Justice, to prosecute them. At a point, the Attorney General told the committee that there was no communication from Parliament to him that these are the people who have been recommended for prosecution, so prosecute them. So I have to do whatever I could to ensure that the Clerk of Parliament communicate decisions of the plenary to him, which he did eventually later. That took about two years almost before he did that. Now, it was left with the Attorney General to prosecute the people. Nothing has been done about that. I'm glad we have a new Attorney General now. One of the issues that we have recommended is the SkyTrain issue. If you hear the Attorney General yesterday, action is being taken on that.
Which the committee actually
raised.
The
committee recommended, yes, we raised it and recommended that people should be prosecuted. Fortunately, that is coming up now. Our work as Public Accounts Committee is the product of the Auditor General. So anything that is not covered in the Auditor General report doesn't come to us. We will not get to know of it. But if it is covered in that report, we get to know of it. We invite the people to appear before us. When their explanations are convincing, we drop it there. If not, we'll push it forward.
Oh, no, but I may not be fair with this line of question, but do you think that, or what do you tell those who might say that maybe your inactions again aided some of this? I would say that my little accounting background I also have is that a lot of work goes into auditing. This is not a journalist who's done the story that you say that he's biased and all the rest. You saw the revelations in the Auditor General's report.
Sure.
That was grave and interesting and jaw-dropping. So I'm saying that if you had taken on the previous year's reports, maybe it would serve as a deterrent to anyone, the infractions and all those things, at least minimize.
I'm sure you're not referring to me as an individual.
The committee.
As I said, the committee do not have such power. The committee can only recommend.
Put pressure on the Attorney General. Put pressure. We know the powers that Parliament
have.
The
committee can only recommend to the plenary for a decision. That is why the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee will move a motion, seconded, debated, vote is put, adopted or rejected. And most of my report, I may say 100% of my report have always been what? Adopted. Now it is left for the executive to implement the decisions of Parliament. That is the recommendations of the Public Accounts Committee adopted by the plenary should be implemented. So it goes back to the executive for not implementing the decisions of Parliament. So that is why I said the solution is that let's punish the people. Whatever is recommended in a report to the plenary, to the executive to ensure that it is implemented. People who need to be prosecuted are prosecuted. When found guilty, are punished. Then it will serve as a deterrent to others. But, people know that when the only difficult thing is appearing before the Public Accounts Committee. You come on television, your family, friends will see you, where you are interrogated, and whether you provided good answers or not, that is what they fear. They know that from that point, the report, nothing will be done about it, because it gets back to them to implement, and they don't implement it. So that is what we are lacking. If we are able to implement the report and punish people for the wrongdoing, then people who are thinking that, after the Public Accounts Committee, nothing happened, will now change their position.
Do you also think that, I don't know what the law says, and since you're from a legislator, you might educate me as well. Do you think that there's a sense in those who've pushed that maybe let's give more powers to the committee or even Parliament to move and take actions on some of these things?
No, I don't support that. It's like you are going to be a judge or a referee and a player at the same time. You have to recommend. You know, we have 3 arms of government. We have our individual roles to play. So I cannot sit at the Public Accounts Committee, look at the issue. The best thing for me to do is to send it to the appropriate quarters to do that. And that is Attorney General. The question is, why is the Attorney General not prosecuting the people? Or why didn't the Attorney General prosecute the people? Let's look at that and find a solution to that. Maybe because the people who are recommended are the appointees of the current government. So prosecuting them will serve like, in a way, their own people are being disgraced or washing their own dirty linen in public. Why is it that the new Attorney General is now chasing after people that we have recommended in the report?
And these are based on some recommendations that the committee made previous years.
Previous,
he's acting on that one.
Which should have been done by the previous Attorney General. He didn't do it, probably because they are the government, they are the people who that they have appointed. So let's look at what we can do in that space to ensure that even if the person who is recommended for prosecution is in my government, I make sure I prosecute him.
Oh, no, but there are some who made some suggestions that, again, first, let's see how we can recover the funds. So if George Yafit today was working with the Ministry of Finance and has established that I took or moved funds about $7 million before we move out of the prosecution, let's do everything to recover those funds.
The recovery of the money is good. It's okay.
Should we do that?
We should do that. But that should not mean that we are focusing on only the recovery of the money and leave the punishment part. Because George Wafi can go for $10 million, trade on that money, make additional $5 million, and when you are caught, you have to pay only the $10 million. How about the $5 million that you have made profit or interest? So we recover the money, but we must punish you. In any case, why do you want to take government's money and then later you give it back? Government needs now money to do projects for everybody, but you want to take it as an individual. It's wrong.
What about also fixing the systems that at least would flag some of these things? And actually, because of the years you spent in this space, both at the Finance and even the Public Accounts Committee, fixing those structures that would automatically flag some of these things, that it will not end up that an audit has to uncover or cover that this person has stole this money.
Let's look at yesterday's issue by the Attorney General,
Signals,
Kobina Edubohin, who was involved in procurement of certain things because he was the director of what is it? BNC. Bureau of National Communication. What can we do to ensure that whether he procured it personally or whatever, the figure is not inflated? So the procurement process must be followed. When you allow for sole sourcing, there are conditions that must be present for sole sourcing to be approved. If those conditions are not present, don't allow sole sourcing, don't approve. The procurement authority should not approve those requests for sole sourcing if the conditions for sole sourcing are not there. Sourcing, one of the major conditions is for emergency. Like during COVID time.
But it's been abused, I would say. It's been the order of the day now.
Yeah, it's been the order of the day. And that is why government is losing a lot of money. So why could you have purchased that equipment which he paid about $1 million plus, but the invoice that he submitted was over $9 million. So if they have gone through the procurement process where we have international or national competitive bidding, definitely the figure will not be quoted as 9 million. So the system is there for us to unearth all those things, but we are abusing it. Why should the procurement authority allow for sole sourcing to be granted in the first place. So I think that, I've said it some time back, that the focus should be on prevention of sole sourcing. Let's even limited competitive tendering or restricted tendering is a bit better than going for sole sourcing. Because sole sourcing is between me, the one buying the thing, and you, the supplier. We'll sit down and work out the figure. Why should it be so?
But as we try and wrap up on this section of this interview, I mean, what would be your advice, looking at the work that you've done over the years in the Public Accounts Committee and even the finance, to this Attorney General in terms of making sure that previous recommendations are addressed? What advice will you give me? He passes by one day just to say hi to you.
Yeah, I think that the current Attorney General has a lot to do. Because if we look at the Public Accounts Committee recommendations in the past, the number of people that he might prosecute are many. So that's why I say he has a lot to do. Don't also forget that the ORA has also compiled a number of issues, which he cannot just take and go to court. He must do investigation to find out those issues gathered by ORA are issues that have evidence to prosecute the people. So he has a lot to do. But for the Public Accounts Committee one report, the issues are clear. The Auditor General has done a lot of work and came out with those recommendations. The Public Accounts Committee have also invited the people. They appeared before the committee and their explanations were not convincing, and we think that the people must be prosecuted. It's very simple. So it is for him to call for those reports from Parliament. If you get to the clerk to the Public Accounts Committee, you can get those reports. Or the Hansard of Parliament can provide the decision of Parliament on those reports. And based on that, easy to go to court. And the Auditor General staff are ready. Because I've told them that they have the working papers for all the audit they did. They will be called to provide those evidence in court. And they are ready. Whatever issues go to court, they are ready to go and defend. So I think that it will be easy for him to get the information to prosecute, but because the number is huge, he has a lot to do.
This is PM Express Business Edition, engaging Honorable James Avedzi, Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. When we come back, we focus on his plan, his vision for the capital and investment space. This is PM Express Business Edition. Right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition, engaging Honorable James Avedzi. Yes, the name will ring a bell. Former chair of Public Accounts Committee and also the Finance Committee, and the work he did in Parliament over the years. But he's jumped the ship into the investment and capital market space. And we're engaging his thoughts on what is his plan in terms of regulating the space, bringing about the needed confidence and ensuring that your investments are safe when you put that money with that company. Honorable, thank you so much for it. I know that there's a strategy, a long-term strategy. I know there's a paper, I know there's a plan, and everybody knows the workings of this commission. But the individual is at a touch. What is the plan? What is the focus as Honorable James Avedzi, the new Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission?
Thank you very much. Before I go there, let me just chip in. I prefer James Klutse Avedzi.
Okay.
We have James Avedzi in your office.
I know. One time we spoke on the phone.
Exactly.
I message to you as well. Yeah.
So just add Klutse. So
I'll do the
Honorable. We know the difference between the two of us.
Okay,
the older one is Klutse Avedzi, and the younger one is James Avedzi.
I'll do the Honorable. Thank you so much.
All right. So yes, we already have a plan, which was supposed to be a 10 years plan to end in 2030, which is called Capital Market Master Plan. Now, the objective of this plan is to make the Securities and Exchange Commission Ghana a top-tier regulator in Africa. The act that established the SEC has an objective for the Commission, is to regulate and promote the growth and development of the capital market in Ghana. in which the investor and the integrity of the market are protected. So that is our core mandate. So my vision as the new Director General is to ensure that we achieve that. We have a number of regulators of the capital market in Africa. So to have an objective, a vision to become the top tier in Africa is not a small vision. So I buy into that vision, that wherever my predecessor left off, that I'll continue, so that we'll realize that vision. So as part of that, we are overhauling the Act that is at 929, that is Security Industry Act of 2016 at 929. We are completely overhauling it to come to international standard. New additions in terms of provisions are being provided in the draft bill, which will be tabling before Cabinet and then eventually to Parliament and pass into law. And in that overhaul, when the bill is passed, will give more power to SEC Ghana to be able to regulate adequately the market. And to be able to do that also, our staff must be equipped in terms of their capacity, in terms of the product that we regulate, in terms of the entire market that we regulate. In fact, they should be ahead of the market here in Ghana. Because it would be better for a regulator to know much about the market than the market operators. If the market operators are ahead of the regulator, what would the regulator be doing? There are certain things that will go below the table that the regulator cannot identify or detect. So the vision is to have capacity building, to train our staff well, probably to get more of them. And to be able to get more, we need space. If you look at this structure, it's nothing to write home about. If you go to other regulators, even in Africa, go to our brothers in Nigeria, if you see the office space, that tells you that this is a regulator. And that recognition is there and respect is also there. But if they come to SEC Ghana, they come to see where we are hiding, probably that respect will not be there. So my vision also to ensure that we get a bigger office space for the commission, which will be permanent. And we have a space here. So we are just looking for funding. Once we get that funding, we'll have to put up a decent accommodation office space for that. So if you're able to achieve that, then we can get in more people, more professionals, right caliber, proper training, that they can regulate the market very well. So that is also my vision. One, to become a top tier regulator of the capital market in Africa.
I know this area often is more of a semblance of workings of private sector, but sometimes in the public sector space, there's always a concern sometimes. I know there's a 10-year paper that you're working with.
No.
Can I ask you that what is the surety about continuity as a new Director General? Because there's always a tendency when a new CEO takes over, new king, new law, I come with my own people, there's my strategy, even though there's an umbrella strategy. What assurance do we have from Honorable Klutse Avedzi, James Klutse Avedzi, about continuity at the Securities and Exchange Commission?
Well, I think that this is a very unique space. It's a place which is unique, and that it's not even everybody that can come and work here. If you're not into that sector, it will be difficult. You come here, you'll not find anything to do. For instance, if you take a stroll and walk on the corridor here, you see that everybody is seriously in his or her room, sitting by his or her computer, doing something. You not hear any noise here because people are using their brain to work all the time. Now, all that they are doing is to achieve a goal. And that goal is to regulate the capital market. That goal is to give confidence to the market so that the investors will have peace of mind that whenever they are placing their money with any fund manager, they know that the money is in safe hands because there is a good regulator who will ensure that that company, that manager, do the right thing. So that is why the continuity in this place, you cannot toil with it. We started overhauling the act. And for me, if we want to become a top-tier regulator in Africa, we need to have an act that is of international standard, where even foreign investors can have confidence in that and come and place their money in our economy. Why do you want to stop that? The question is, you can't do that. You can't stop it. So, and it is not something you should be stopped. Even if you want to stop it, you can't stop it. So you have to continue. And for me, I said earlier on that it's something that fits well into my vision also. So definitely we have to continue. So for here, the issue about a new director has come. Therefore, there is going to be a complete change will not come. There might be some minor administrative changes that will not affect the overall objective of the commission.
So anybody here who is worried, or anybody outside, a fund manager who was working with the commission,
my staff should rest assured.
Where the Honorable James Klutse Avedzi would come and just overhaul the entire system, they should be rest assured.
They should be rest assured. What they should be concerned is, am I doing my work well? If you are doing your work well, rest assured, nothing will happen to you. And everybody, for me, so far have seen, are serious doing their work.
I mean, you've had time to engage the staff as well. I mean, what do you make of their relationship with you, working with you, and how things have gone?
Well, maybe I'm not the best person to answer that question.
Okay.
Maybe they will have to give you, he's a very wicked man.
Yeah.
One thing
they watch you at the public accounts committee.
No, one thing about me is that when people look me from afar, they think this man is a very wicked man.
Yeah.
And probably because of my white beard, they fear me. But if you get close to me, you enjoy my relationship.
And I believe that based on Parliament being your second home, getting these laws and bills being passed will just be a walk in the park for you.
No, it won't be a walk in the park.
I mean,
well,
these are your friends who are,
well, they're my friends, all right.
The clerks who know you and everything. So
definitely.
Getting this thing done wouldn't be a problem.
What it means is that when I get to Parliament, I don't need anybody to tell me where to pass and where to go around. So, because it's my environment. So, definitely, when the bill eventually gets to Parliament, I'm sure the Committee of Finance will be happy that, this is a bill that is brought by their former colleague, and they'll be willing to work.
I stand to be educated, but there's supposed to now a Committee of Ways and Means. So,
the Committee of Ways and Means, that is not the job of this bill. Is not a job
I
of
know,
Ways
but
and Means.
I mean, in trying to get things done, we know how getting bills passed in Parliament has to be done. But that's all. I'm trying to draw the contrast that being there,
no. I don't think that is the work of Ways and Means.
Oh, okay. But
I'm going to deal with the Finance Committee. And the Finance Committee
will fast track things for you.
No, I don't know where you are trying to go.
Sorry, I mean, I'm just that they'll get things done for you quickly.
Definitely. As I said, they are my former colleagues. And when I get there, in fact, at the weekend, we were at Oak Plaza Hotel. I went there, we went there to meet the committee to defend my budget. And it was smooth. Because they know this man
not because of James Klutse Avedzi.
Well, because they know this man has been the chairman of Finance Committee for 8 years. He will not bring anything that will not conform to the budget procedure or the process. So they asked me and explained things how we arrive at the figures, why the figures should be so. I explained to them and they said, Chairman, they still call me Chairman. You don't have any problem, you go.
Once a chairman, always a chairman.
Yes.
I mean, there's some development that have happened in this space where there were supposed to be actions taken on fund management firms and people's funds were moved somewhere and all those rest. I mean, help me out, and I know that it could be in handing over notes to you. What is the status of these defunct fund management firms and people's funds that government had to restructure and be paying them? There are some people who are saying that they've not been hearing anything. The last time there was last year, something being paid to them. Honorable, help me in whatever handing over notes. What is the status of the payment of these funds? People who had their funds locked up and I knew government was working to pay them what they are due.
Thank you very much. This is a very interesting place and very important question. Apart from my handing over notes, which I got from my predecessor, I've also had some briefings. You know, in 2019, the commission, if I say the commission, I'm talking about SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission gave a contract to PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, to do some forensic for some fund management firms that are they suspected to be doing the wrong thing. There were 29 of them. No, 21. Sorry, 21 of them. So the company did the work, submitted its reports in 2019. Immediately after that, the government then took a decision to revoke the license for some of these firms. So out of the 21, a number of them fall within the companies which licenses were revoked. Some other companies were added. So far, I have not had the main reasons where other companies were added. So the total number of companies which licenses were revoked were 53. So you can see the calculation. 21 were gone through forensic audit. Not all of them licenses were revoked, but a number of other companies were added. So 53. Some of them went to court. I think about 4 of them went to court. So as we speak now, 2 of them are still in court. The case are still in court. And I will not mention names of those companies. So 47 actually went through the bailout process. So when government revoked their SEC Ghana did not have the power to take these companies through liquidation or receivership. If you, Bank of Ghana has a receivership in the Bank of Ghana law. So it means that if a bank is undergoing or going through a distress, Bank of Ghana can't place that bank under receivership. And then the assets will be realized and then the people will be settled. But because SEC did not have the power to do that, and also power to liquidate, we have to go through the registrar, Office of Registrar of Companies to do the liquidation. So that before the ORC, that is Office of the Registrar of Company, could do that, they might get a permit from the bank. The bank, from the court. The court must give a final approval that you cannot liquidate Company A or Company B. So all these 47 companies, the ORC got the approval from the court to liquidate them. So when these processes were going, government decided that on humanitarian grounds, let's put these people under bailout. Because the individual investors, the total number that has signed on to benefit from the bailout is 108,000 investors. There are small ones. Some 20,000, some 30,000, some 50,000, and some other big ones. So government placed these people under the bailout scheme. Now those companies that went to court, because they went to court and they didn't fall under the liquidation, government cannot put them under bailouts. But there was pressure from these investors. So government decided to put them under a partial bailout. So it means that government will pay them part of their money, waiting for the court process to conclude. Then if the decision is to liquidate them, then government can then migrate them into full bailouts. That is where we are now. So as we speak, almost 100% of those companies under full bailout have been paid. Almost. We can say about 98% have been paid. Those under the partial bailout, they receive initial 50,000 maximum. So if your investment is 40,000, you take everything. If your investment is 100,000, you take 50,000. If your investment is even 1 million, you take 50,000. Okay. That was the initial payment they made to them. And then last year, government promised giving us SEC additional 1.5 million. Yeah. But 700 million was disbursed to SEC. Not the money doesn't come directly to us. There's a firm that is established to do GCB that, Capital. Which is GCB Capital is doing that. That is, we call it amalgamated fund. Yeah. So they receive the money, and they receive the money in 3 tranches, add up to 700 million. Then those under the partial bailout were given additional money. And what they decided to do at this time was that you take 50,000, if your money is up to 50,000, you take everything. And if it's more than big, then you take 15% of your investment. So if the money is, if I have 1 million there, I'll be taking 150,000. And that is where we are now. So we can say that out of the 108,000, almost over 80,000 have been About 80,000 have been paid fully.
These individuals who fall under these...
Yes, about 80,000 have fully received their investment. The balance are those that fall under the partial bailout. Most of them under partial bailout. There is a balance of 800,000 to be paid out of the 1.5 promised by the government. Yeah. So if the money is received, then those partial bailout will receive additional...
Would that be final or within...
No, it won't be final. Because the money that which is outstanding, in fact, those are big investors. The money left is over 4 billion now, which is outstanding. To
settle all these investors who are down there.
And
how much has been released so far out of that?
So far, per the briefing that I had, a little over, getting to 5 billion have been released by government. Close to 5 billion.
That should be more than that. If it's 4 billion and 5 billion has been released, or sorry to...
Yes, the total amount involved is around 9 billion.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's up with 4 billion
So
now.
it's up with about 4.3 or 4.2 something.
Clearly settle every investor who was affected.
Yeah. But that will not happen because some 2 companies are still in court. Because if the court case is concluded, if they are to go through a liquidation, the government will now have access to go and take the assets of those companies, realize them, and then add money if it's not sufficient to pay the people.
These 2 companies are in court, and looking at the way things have gone, they are still trying to pursue the legal route.
They are still in court.
Can we look at an out-of-court settlement so that at least we can fast-track this process and reach a settlement on this? Is that possible? I don't know what your legal advisors are telling you, but...
Well, we haven't we haven't thought of that, but it's something that even if we as SEC agree, or government want that, it's for that company to also accept that. Well, we want to have an out-of-court settlement. And how will that be, out-of-court settlement? Because investors have money with you. If you have money to pay them, then we don't even need to go to court again. It's your company.
Because they are stopping the liquidation of their companies that would help government
So if you have money to pay them, you will not go to liquidation again. Go and settle the people. In fact, government has paid part of those money. What will you do? Refund what government has paid your investors. Simple. Is that not a good bargain? Yes. But it's because they don't have the resources. Maybe they also have some, because when these companies receive individual investors' money, they place the money in other investment. In fact, they diversify the placement to ensure that they earn good returns on the money for the investors. Maybe their money they have placed in some investment have locked up somewhere. If they can recover it. Some of them are even claiming that they have financed some companies who have done projects for government, and government hasn't paid them. If government has paid those companies that they finance, they'll be able to get their money, and they'll be able to settle their investment. And they have a good point also.
But in terms of the bailout, is there any engagement from government, the finance minister, a very good friend of yours, Dr. Tufosan, about the remaining bailout funds and when it will be released, so that at least for those investors who are waiting for these bailout funds to come in, they can be assured that all other things being equal, before the mid-year budget review, they can get something?
Yeah, the budgets for 2025 are just been presented. The appropriation hasn't been passed yet. It's probably be passed by Friday this week. I intend going to see him after that. I know for this budget, no provision has been made, but there's a possibility of coming back with a mid-year review. And if the performance in terms of revenue generation have been good, why not? We'll argue for that, and then because it's something that was pledged by the previous government, if you continue, so that at least we can get that 800 million to take care of some of these investors also, in order to bring confidence back into the market.
But I mean, knowing how Parliament and even government machinery works, what about maybe contingency funding or something that can be helped or be used to still pay the remaining?
This one is not about Parliament. It's about the minister taking that decision. Yes.
And maybe could you pursue him more?
Yeah, definitely. As I said,
even before mid-year, that if he can still make something small to you.
For now, as you are aware, all finance ministers will want their budget to be passed. Then they can start full implementation. So I'm waiting for the budget to be passed. Then I'll go to him. I've already mentioned to him earlier, before the presentation. So I'll have to go back to him again after the budget is passed. Then you have some free space now to engage more. Yeah.
But do you see this government working to settle the remaining funds, the 4 billion as well, in terms of the remaining funds to pay these investors?
I'm sure government will do that in order to bring confidence back into the markets, so that this small investment that we get from individual investors helped in financing companies that are going into production and the manufacturing. If we don't do that, then we are killing that sector. That financing will not be made available, long-term financing will not be made available to the market, and which will affect the overall growth of our economy. So, and the finance minister, you know, is a finance person. He understands this very well. So, government will do that, and the president will definitely not say that he will not do that. And the president can also ask the finance minister to look for some money.
Do you see the payment of, and you've spoken about, do you see the payment of these bailout funds and even the workings and the assurance to pay some of these remaining funds helping with confidence at the retail level when it comes to these retail investors? Because do you see that as critical?
It's critical. I see it as critical because we need to do this so that people don't begin to send their money somewhere or keep their money in their homes, which is more risky than to bring it to the market so that it can be made available for people to borrow for long term and then grow the economy. So it's very, very critical. The confidence be there. In fact, it is our duty here as SEC to bring back that confidence so that people will always know that when I'm going to invest money, I know it's safe. Notwithstanding, there are some firms which are still the recalcitrant ones, which are still bad ones, still in the system. And we, as SEC, we will not protect them.
Honorable, I'll be coming back to get from you on dealing with some of these firms in terms of market confidence, regulation. They have even talked about a regulators forum between you, the Commission, the Bank of Ghana, and also in terms of confidence in the market space when it comes to the players. This is PM Express Business Edition, engaging Honorable James Klutse Avedzi. He is the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Let's look at the plan and capital market regulation in Ghana today. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we talk about capital market regulations, the perspective of the new Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Honorable James Klutse Avedzi, who is the new Director of the Securities and Exchange Commission. You've hammered on confidence, but confidence is also not just about the retail investors, but how you go about regulating the space and dealing with the consequent fund management and firms who would always want to look at the loopholes to outwit the regulator. What is the plan to also ensure that all these fund management firms and financial firms that have been regulated, or that have been regulated by your end, they work within the laws?
Yes. We at SEC have, over the years, ensured that the market operators obey the regulations and the law. We do this by issuing of guidelines. What you should do if you want to probably even introduce a new product into the market. Guideline will guide you on what the steps are. We also have, as a way of our supervision, reports that you need to submit to this office on regular basis. We also do on-site visit, which we need to increase, because currently our on-site visits are not that much because of the number of staff that we have. So the on-site visit will mean that we'll come to your office, inspect your books, see how you are doing your work. Apart from that, you also, on some quarterly, some annual basis, submit returns to the SEC, which will be vetted by our staff, make sure that you fulfill the requirements, what we need, like your capital requirements, all that is needed to make your firm a strong firm. That we also have to see how you are placing the people's money. In fact, the investment guideline is also there for them to see that if we have licensed you to manage people's fund, when you take the fund, this and that are the investment that you can place the money. You can't place the money in investment that we here will know that the return will not be good, and the risk level is very high, which can affect the investor. We do all this, but as I said, there are bad ones who still think that, oh, they will visit my site only once a year or twice a year. I can quickly do this for 6 or 3 months and get the money back, and those bad ones are there. So we want to send a strong warning to them.
I'm going to crack the whip on them.
That we will not spare them. If you go against the rules, the guideline, the laws, why, now that we are even overhauling the act, there are provisions that are coming up to give us more power. That first, if we know we are not doing well, we'll give you an advisor to come and attend your board meetings and then advise you on what to do. If the advisor thinks that, well, things still are not going through, we'll give you, put you as an appointed administrator for you to come and sit in your office and manage the company for you. And if that also didn't work, we'll place you under receivership. And that is to liquidate your company. So all those things are being provided for in the new bill to become law. Those powers would be implemented when the law is passed. So that if you are doing a bad thing, don't think that SEC will protect you, and for that matter, or SEC will just say, oh, pay penalty, and you're going to look for money and pay and continue to do that. There are, as we speak now, there are bad ones. And there are some of them which are already in distress. Some of the firms are in distress.
Still through problems.
Yeah. They're in distress. They cannot meet their withdrawal demand from the investors. We get those complaints almost on a daily basis. And we instruct them to negotiate with the investors and pay them. And then we give this advice to anyone who wants to place money with any investor in this farm business. If you go to the website of Securities and Exchange Commission, there's a place under, I think, legal enforcement. You will see color coding. Color coding. If you see gold, if the name of that company is colored gold, it means that that company is in good standing. So feel comfortable and place your investment with them. If you see any company that is in red color, that company is in distress. Don't place any investment with them because the risk there is high. If you are still not comfortable, write to us that you want to place your investment with this company. What is their standing, the health status of that company with us? We will go to our records and advise you that, oh, this company is in good health. They can manage your funds very well. They can do this. We have to do that. So
free lines as well. People can do that.
You can do that because that is
free lines. People to call.
Yeah, we have. In fact, we have our info@sec.gov.dh. Email. Just send us email. We'll respond to you. Because that is the investor is to be protected. That is our objective. The integrity of the market is to be protected. So we have all this for you to guide you, that before you place your money, go and check. If you're not convinced, write to us through our email, info@sec.gov.gh. We'll respond to you, and whatever information you want, we'll provide it to you. For now, at no fee. Maybe in future, we'll charge a little fee, but not for now.
But no fee. I believe there are some companies that are going through problems. Why don't you, as a regulator, quickly move to take action on them rather than waiting for things to get out of hand? Because you're already battling with companies who are in court and trying to stop you from enforcing your actions. You
are right. I've already explained that we are now overhauling the Act, where provisions are being made now that a company of that nature, these are the procedures you need to follow. I also explained earlier that when the 53 companies' licenses were revoked, SEC did not have the power to liquidate them. So we have to route it through Office of the Registrar of Companies, ORC, to be able to do that. So for now, we are handicapped on how we should go about certain of these things. Some of this will be a decision that should be taken by government, which also have implications. But we are just advising the public that, look, don't place your investment if you're not sure of that the status of this company, whether it's good or not. Yes.
And you think that it will be enough that we won't get there where things will get out of hand, some will say?
Because we are now monitoring them adequately, even though some of them are recalcitrant. Despite the monitoring, they go behind us and do certain things. I think that if you seek that information from us, and whatever advice we'll give you or information we'll provide to you, will guide you better than for you to go straight forward and place your investment without checking.
Oh no, but I don't know whether it has ceased now, but I know in the past there are people who have been working here pleading with you to even get their money back for them and all the rest because of not your fault, but the irresponsibility of a company out there. There are someone saying that failure to take certain interim actions on these firms, people will come back harassing SEC, walking in that pay us our money. If these companies are in a state where they cannot operate because of their financial standing, advice from the Attorney General, advice from government, shouldn't SEC move in and shut down these firms?
Definitely, we'll have to do that when it becomes critical. But for now...
But they are still taking money from people. They are still doing certain things that the laws and the regulation bars them from doing it because of their current state.
That is part of the education that we are giving. And the program we are doing here is part of education. And I'm sure that people who watch this interview will know that, hey, there is something that we are missing. And we have also planned at SEC to start rolling short videos from now ongoing to educate the public more on what is supposed to do, because whatever investment they are placing is risky. For us, we should know that before you place investment in any business, there is a risk element. There are some the risk element is very low. There are some where the risk element is very high. And for you to know that the risk element is low, you need to have more information about that company. Then you have that confidence that, look, if I place my investment here, the risk is low. So that is the advice we are giving. And we will continue with this education to educate the public more, so that most of them should not fall victim to these bad ones.
Honorable, there's also a fear that maybe if you are so tough on the market, you will stifle innovation, you will stifle market growth. How are you carrying out this mandate to ensure that it doesn't send signals that the former chair of finance committee is here, probably, so everybody is now afraid and the market is not moving?
Which one is the best? To be lenient and let them mismanage people's funds, and let these people come to the footstep of government crying for government to bail them out, or to crack the whips and then clear them from the system, so that the good ones will be in position. They have the capacity to manage the good ones. So if you want to be part of the good ones, manage well, so that you'll be one of those good ones who will then probably take over the clients of the bad ones. So it's a caution to them that, look, we have to crack the whips. If not, if we don't do that, we will go back to what happened in 2019, where people will come crying to government that we want our investments, because the licenses of these companies have been revoked. We are trying our best to see how we can turn them around to perform well, but it's a tough decision. The government is paying money, as I said, getting to 9 billion or 9 billion going into investors through mismanagement of somebody. We should not continue to do that. So we would rather clean the market and let the market be protected, so that when you are entering into the market, you have that confidence that the market is protected and you not lose your investment.
I go to your website and I see some innovations there, the green and all those things. I mean, in terms of encouraging market growth and activity and even lessons of the Ghana Stock Exchange, I mean, not to mention names per se, but are we seen any requests come to your table that, Honorable, these are firms that have gone through all the scrutiny and everything in terms of product introduction, in terms of lesson on the exchange? Should we expect some approvals in the coming months?
No, we are receiving those requests, and for now, the licenses are issued by the board, and we don't have the board in place yet. So all those requests are being put down, waiting for the constitution of the board. Then the board can then look at those things and then work on them. So yes, there are requests that are coming forward, and then even companies like stock exchange, definitely it's listing. There are some companies that are not also not. In fact, was it yesterday? I got some letters from the Minister of Finance, where some 5 banks and 1 fund manager have been delisted from playing the primary dealing. The bank, because they are not performing. You see, so it's part of the cleaning of the system. It's part of it. Yes.
So until this board is in place, these listing, because I remember recently the Minerals and Investment Fund CEO, she was on some visit, Electro came for instance, they said they are waiting for SEC approval. And all these things are going to be clustered in the board being in place.
Yes. As soon as the board is put in place, all those things will be tabled before them for approval.
But there was talk about regulators forum, and I don't know how far it is working now. There are some of the lapses in the market is because the insurance commissioner, the Securities and Exchange, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the governor of the Bank of Ghana were not in sync, and so if that forum is there, a company owned by a Joe Mansa would not be able to, with her way through and get certain things. What do you make of this suggestion? I don't know whether it's still effective now or it to be to bring back that forum of regulators like you, Director General of SEC, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, and the Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission.
In fact, the regulators, we are 4.
Oh, okay.
Bank of Ghana, the Insurance Commission, MPRA,
yeah.
and then SEC.
Okay.
So if we have that forum, it will be very good. For now, I do not have more information about that. Probably I'm new, so I don't have much information about that. But in terms of Bank of Ghana, we've been communicating very well. We even started collaboration in trying to see how we can put some sandbox in place to ensure on these virtual assets service providers, how to regulate them. It's something that process is ongoing. There's a committee. I have a committee here. Bank of Ghana also has a committee. So we are putting things together and see how we can regulate this one. You know, crypto is something that is coming.
What is the latest on? I knew that in the past there was a decision that do not go into this space. We are still doing our investigations. The handing over notes has been given to you. What will be Honorable James Klutse Avedzi's position when it comes to cryptocurrency?
I think we should regulate them. We should regulate them, and government can make some revenue from that part. This is how I look at it.
So then the licenses will be given them, and then you allow them to use in this country?
Yes. Whether we like it or not, they are using it. People are into crypto, serious time. Okay? If you look at our manifesto, NDC manifesto, I think page 12 or thereabout, it is there, clearly, that we will regulate virtual asset service providers. So it's something, that decision that the government has taken. So that is why, even before I assume office, there's a committee here who have been working with the committee in Bank of Ghana, putting things together. So we are working. Just about last week, there was a meeting here where a Bank of Ghana staff came here and for processing. So we are gradually working there. So it's better we regulate it so that it becomes legal. That when you are into crypto, what is crypto? It's a virtual asset. It's store of value. I put my money at, let's say, GCB Bank. I store my value in GCB Bank, or to earn some interest on it. Or I decided to use my money to buy gold bar, and keep it at the bank, or for safekeeping for me. In future, the value of gold has gone up. I've gone from a gold bar and sell. A store of value. So I can store my money in virtual assets, where it is not limited to only Ghana, it's limited to the whole world, where the value of that is going up, appreciating, or changing up and down, at the point that if I store it there for 5 years, maybe I buy a Bitcoin at $10,000. In 5 years' time, the Bitcoin is $50,000. It's the same my money. I have made money on it. And so government at that point that you are realizing that your Bitcoin, government comes in and say, yeah, you have made $40,000 profit or interest. Pay this money to me. Now, if currently we are not regulating it, that money they are taking it free.
Are there any clear timelines that that you're looking at that by the end of this year?
I think that by the end of the year we should get closer to that, if not before.
The fear is that it's a market disruption to the traditional legal system, the traditional legal tender system. So it's something that very traditional some markets have said no to it.
Do you know that Trump has sanctioned it?
That is U.S.
U.S.
And knowing where Trump is coming from, some will say the previous administration put a freeze on it.
When it comes to Africa, South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, they are all doing it. They are regulating it. What are we doing, Ghana? We want to sit as old man, like our forefathers who used cutlasses and hoe for farming all the years. We should stick to cutlasses and hoe. We should not go mechanized by using tractors so that we can get more yield. Is that what we want to do? If that is what we want to do, let's remain like that. Let me tell you, I saw some video yesterday on a social media platform. Chinese, who are in Ghana here, are now using these our leaves, and they fold it nicely, put rice in it, and you can hold it. When you see you love it, you want to buy that and eat. Somebody say, hey, we are here, Chinese are coming to this country to do this. What did we get wrong all this while? Because we always want to remain the old way, maintain the old system without innovation. That is why we are not growing, probably.
So you think that it has to be done?
It has to be done.
There are someone about to try and wrap up on this discussion. There are some who would always want to tie effective or very active capital market to the economy. And if the economy is doing very well, we will see that replaying impact on the capital market. For you, do you share the same, that if the interest everybody is looking for is a very exciting market, there is a listing, there's investment, and the companies that are doing well is tied to the external economy, and therefore, if things pick up, obviously, the replaying impact will be on the capital market?
Well, definitely, there is a correlation between the growth of the economy and the capital market.
Yeah.
There is. If the economy is doing well, it means that if I have investment fund and I invest it, I'll get my returns. Okay. Whether that return is huge or small, it depends on the economy. If assuming the inflation is 2% in Ghana, and my investment interest is 5%, am I not making it? I am making it. Or assuming that inflation is 54%, as we had it pass, and my interest is 30%, I am losing. Okay? So, whatever happened in terms of the economy, the performance of the economy in terms of inflation, foreign exchange relation or whatever, is a reflection of what happened in the capital market. So I agree perfectly with those people that that is the way to go. If I invest my money and that money is given to a company to go and produce something, and that thing the company produce is sold here in Ghana, they make profit, they pay me my money back. That is how the economy will evolve. So I agree perfectly.
Honorable, your final thought. There are some retail investors out there who are still sitting on a lot of money, and they're still skeptical about the outlook for the market, and they are still being haunted by what happened in 2019 and all the rest. As a regulator of the market, what are your final words to these retail investors out there, and even for the fund managers who are still skeptical about the way forward for this market?
You know, the capital market is made up of two main products. Fixed income market, which is bonds, treasury bills, and those that. You know, as you are moving with 1 million Ghana cedis to go and put into that market, you already know that your return is 20%. At the end of the year, I'll get 20% of that market. Most Ghanaians prefer that one because they know from day one that I'm getting 20% at the end of the year. That is a fixed income market. We also have the shares, the equity market, where I'll buy shares in a company, but I don't know how much will be the return on that money I'm investing in buying those shares. It depends on how well the company is managed. If at the end of the year, the company make a lot of profit, I am pay my dividend. The share value of that company also go high. Then I'll take my dividend, and if I sell the share, I make more money. Last year, 2024, the total return on the share value is 56%. So assuming that I've bought shares in the company in Ghana, averagely, I am making a return of 56%. because it is not known at the time of people buying the share, people are very skeptical. They want to know from day one that this is how much I'm getting at the end of the year. So our advice, that if you're an investor in Ghana, you have money, if you're not sure, if you're afraid that my fixed income investment at the end of the year, company will be mismanaged, and for that matter, I will not get it, go and buy shares. Once you go to the secondary market, Ghana Stock Exchange, you can buy, shares are being traded every day. You can buy shares in any company. Currently, we have about 30 companies that are listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Buy shares, you get an advisor who advises you which of the shares is doing well. Buy this one. You can place some here, you can place some here. They will advise you. There are investment advisors who will do that and take a small fee. Then you are sure that even if at the end of the year that company didn't make any profit and for you should not receive any dividend, the share value is going up and you're not losing your money.
But a quick one, there's a bit on the securities, the revised securities that the laws you're working on. Are there any timelines that you're hoping that you get the approval?
The bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are targeting by the close of the year. The draft has been completed. We will sign off with the consultant by Friday. And then we here will take a week or two to look at it finally. Then we'll move to the Ministry of Finance for the bill to go to cabinet. Then from cabinet they come to parliament.
I said final, but just a final one on, they are somewhat, so they're looking at the current environment now. There's a justification for the pension laws to be reviewed to allow it to now invest in other innovative areas. You know, the law restricting how pension funds can be invested. Do you subscribe to the school of thought that let's review the pension law?
We should review the pension law. We should review it.
So that they can invest in other...
It's projected that by the end of this year, the pension fund will hit 100 billion.
Ghana?
Yes.
Wow.
That is a long-term funding for companies. Into venture capital, into private equity. If the law is revised to allow those funds to go into those areas, it will be good capital for companies. And they will use that money to grow the manufacturing sector, the production sector, so that we can reduce our importation of certain goods in this country. So I agree that we should look at that restriction again and what can be done about that to place it. If not to do it, to open up so widely, we can open it a little bit and monitor it for some time and see how it performs. Then we'll take a final decision. So I agree with that.
Honorable James Klutse Avedzi, I appreciate your time so much, and I know we'll be coming back again for more as the market develops and grows. This is PM Express Business Edition, engaging the new Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Honorable James Klutse Avedzi, who is a new Director General of this sector, a regulator overseeing the capital and investment space. My name is George. I know the debate will still go on in your homes on what the regulator has to do more to ensure that there is market confidence and also to encourage you to place your funds in those various fund management firms and actually funds out there. This is PM Express Business Edition. My name is George Afe. Have a great day.